careful who you have in your head. You have the Cobra energy right here. You have someone that really thrives off of fear, especially in your work environment. They see you as someone who's working hard, but at the end of the day, they see that sometimes with their persuasion, you can sort of overthink situations. And you guys could be in a work environment where the personalities are a little bit different, but you guys are able to blend everything correctly. This person here has a controlling personality. You're dealing with the Cobra energy here, so you're dealing with someone that has a controlling personality while you're trying to be like, okay, let's find a middle ground. Let's work around each other. You guys know that, okay, to be in a work environment, nobody necessarily has to be friends, but you guys can have a sense of respect. People go in, they do their job, they sort of like, tie together when it's needed. But you guys are being influenced by the snake personality because they're trying to just have their way, their method to the madness as far as they're controlling the environment really displaced on you. They want to have you sort of swayed by a lot of their chaos, and you guys are not in a chaotic environment, but this person knows that you can overthink some things when it comes down to making sure your procedures are right, making sure things are going in a smooth type of manner. But you guys are sort of releasing yourself from the performative behavior because the snake energy loves performative behavior. It loves to be in an environment where they're able to perform, and then they lead with this performative behavior, but they never really show their hand because they're always on the strike when it comes down to other individuals in the situation. They like to hide their hand. They like to be in a situation where people are not really aware as far as what they're doing. But you guys are seeing that you're being heavily swayed by this person in your work environment, and you have nothing to worry about. The procedures are going in the right type of way. You guys could be new in this work environment, and you're learning different people. You're learning people how they tick when it comes down to their personalities. But to overthink that environment, to overthink the madness when it comes down to personality types, that's not your job. Okay, your job is to make a smooth transition when it comes down to implementing different procedures, when it comes down to making sure that work is done in an effective type of manner. You had the glue. Things are already in place. This person could be trying to sway your ear saying that it's not in place, that things are not together when it comes down to the procedures. You guys are taking a step back, okay? You're not being anxious in the situation, and you're actually looking at the big blueprint, okay? You're looking at the numbers. You're looking at how your team is doing. You're looking at the job itself, and you're seeing that it's fine. Okay, you're realizing that this person wants you to be in this fearful type of nature because this person loves to see a lot of drama in their environment. Okay, they probably have no personal life when it comes down to their own endeavors, so they like to stir the pot in situations because they don't really have a calling of their own life. Okay, they can be very much so influenced by how people sort of react in anxious type of environments. And you guys are seeing that you're no longer going to have this person in control of your emotions because you're seeing that it's grounded, and you're seeing that with the web of communication, okay, that things will be addressed in a proper manner. Calming down. You're not thinking about the negative tail in your head. You're not trying to have yourself in this space where you're like, okay, you're manifesting a negative outcome in your work environment. Okay, you guys are realizing that the rabbit energy is all about, they can say it, they can sort of manifest a lot of the things in their head. A lot of the fear that the rabbit energy goes through can be manifested. Okay, so if you guys are saying out loud, okay, well, people are not going to be staying with this company for a long term, okay? Or people are not really gonna invest in the company in the right proper way. You're gonna wind up seeing that a lot of that negative behavior is being manifested because you're saying it out loud. You're basically in that mental space where you're thinking about the outcome in a negative way, and you're realizing that's just coming from a fear perspective from someone else in your environment. Okay, the more you think it, the more you can manifest it. Okay, you guys are very leery as far as how much you're manifesting with other people, and you're realizing that with that fear energy, people in your work environment, they pick up on fear. So if they're seeing that a lot of their work is being increased because of the fear factor that you're bringing to the table, and you're realizing that, hey, you know what, there was nothing broken in this system. There was nothing broken when it comes down to interaction and work being done properly. You're realizing from this snake energy, this cobra energy, that okay, I can save my energy. I can sort of put myself in a space where I know things are going to be done. It's going to be efficient, and I don't have to put myself in this worry ward type of perspective. And this snake energy, it's going to be in a space where they're kind of going to be resentful, okay? Because they're looking to have that, dopamine hit based on drama. But you guys are able to identify what's coming in your direction. You're able to see, okay, you know what? This person just really wants to have some type of, meltdown behind the scenes. You're like, okay, I can't change this person either, but I'm going to have them in their own lane, okay? And I know that, a lot of things that they're coming to me with, it's not really a level 10, it's like a level 2 because they just have a controlling nature, okay? You guys are able to identify what's controlling and what's not really worth your time to really address, okay? If you're seeing that it's going to be worth your while, you're seeing that it's going to be something that's going to affect your team, it's going to affect your company, then of course you're going to address it. You're going to make sure things are done in a way where it's meticulous, okay, especially with that rabbit and mouse energy here. But if you're seeing that it's just hearsay by someone else in your environment, it's not really worth your time to address, you're moving forward, okay? Let's go into the tarot deck here. Just want to go a little bit further. So we had the Ace of Swords. You guys are having clear-cut communication. We have the Temperance card here. You're balancing your emotions. Someone's going to be in this Nine of Swords because they had this level as far as they're upset that they're not getting their way. They're upset that they're not getting in your head, okay? And with them not being able to get in your head, they may walk away from the opportunity. You got the Three of Wands in reverse here. So, with them trying to like look and see, okay, how can I have this person get on anxious mode, okay? When they're realizing that you're able to look at things from an efficient manner, you're able to bring your emotions in and say, hey, does this really logically make sense? They're going to be upset about that because they're used to the chaos. Okay, let's go further. So we have, let's see, the Six of Pentacles. All right. We have the Page of Wands here. We have the Six of Swords. Okay. We also have here the Knight of Wands. I'll pull two more cards here. And we have, let's see, the Hermit in reverse. And the last card we have here is the Empress. Okay, you guys are looking good. Let's get started. So we have the Ace of Swords and the Temperance. You guys are telling the truth. You guys are standing in your truth. Okay, you're not gonna have anybody sway yourself in the environment. You're not gonna have anyone lead with any type of emotions that are not yours. You're looking at things from a logical level. Okay, you're looking at things from a place where you're able to like identify what has to be addressed properly, and you're balancing your emotions. You're not gonna have someone like sway your emotions in this mouse energy. Okay, where you're overthinking. Okay, it's affecting your nerves. It's affecting how you go about your day to day. Okay, you guys could be running on E based on someone else's messy mindset, okay, based on their level as far as like starting smear campaigns, their level as far as like gossip in the workplace. You guys are basically looking at this person saying, hey, I need to put this energy to the side because this person is not helping me look at things from an emotional sound type of place. Yes, we could be co-workers. Yes, we could, work together in an effective type of manner, but I know how to place this person because this person could cause a lot of chaos when it's no longer needed, okay? Like I said, they're going to be in this Nine of Swords type of energy when they realize that it can't stir you into a negative type of thought process, okay? And Three of Wands, they're trying to have people lead the environment based on a highly controlled micromanaging environment. This person could be used to micromanaging, okay? And you guys are going from a different type of way. It's going across from a very successful type of way with your staff. And they're they're trying to have this micromanaging type of perspective, but you're realizing if you bring that to the equation, people will leave. Okay, and you're seeing in your environment that it's already stable, so it's no need to go about this micromanaging perspective when the communication is growing, where the the pattern of work is being done in an effective manner. Okay, people are on the right type of page with that. So you're like, okay, why would I need to go further in this controlling type of mindset where I know that people are doing what they need to do? Okay, Six of Pentacles. You know how to balance everything. You know how to balance, okay, which person you can share information with, which person you need to, pull back a little bit when it comes down to balancing how you look at things from an emotional type of lens. If you're seeing that this Cobra energy or personalities like it can have you kind of fixated on, being in your head, thinking overboard when it comes down to your procedures, and you're realizing that things are already moving in a flow, and things are not going, haywire. You're realizing that, the level of communication that you give to this person, or the level of information that you give to this person, is going to be very limited. Okay, you're like, okay, I'm not going to have them, going to a season of manipulation, and I'm giving them information because I'm uneasy. Okay, I'm stressed, so I'm overly talking the situation with this person, and that's how they're getting their way of stirring the pot in the environment. Okay, like I said, you guys saw the Page of Wands. They're gonna be trying to get your attention. Okay, they're used to stirring the pot. They're used to the mess. Okay, and you're realizing that this person's emotional level, their emotional maturity, is on a Page type of perspective. It's all about impulse decisions. It's all about impulse actions or communication. Okay, and this person's realizing that without them, doing this, behavior, they're not in a space where they feel like. The environment's for them. They want to have that micromanaging type of perspective. They want to have that, chaotic type of energy. And, with them not facing that or not seeing that for themselves, they're going to be gone. Okay. You got the Six of Swords. They're not going to be, really in a space where they're going to stay for the long term, because they like to have that, overamped energy in the environment. And, their schedule may change, okay? The amount of work that they do for you may not be the same. You guys are in an environment where, someone switches from full-time to part-time. They may, pull back their hours and say, hey, you know what, I just want to work on a part-time scale, okay? Because they're seeing that, with them being in the environment, and they can't go into this performative control with anybody in the environment, okay? They want to pull back, okay? They want to pull back their energy. But you guys are like, hey, that's okay for me, because you're not going to have somebody rush in when it's not a Wands type of energy trying to stir the pot. Start, have you in confusion, have you in a space where you're like, very inward in your emotions, and you feel yourself being stressed and weighed down from anxiety. You guys are breaking free from that hermit mode, shutting down, behavior where that someone has you in your head. You're shutting down behavior where you're limited to getting to know your team in a proper way, because this person could be trying to be that emotional support without having you really learn the environment for yourself. Okay, you guys are stepping forward in your Empress type of mindset, your Empress seat right here, and you don't need anyone to help you balance your emotions, especially if they're coming from a space where they have their own motive at play. Okay, you guys know your environment. You guys are going to have the emotional fiber in that workspace. People are going to have that respect for you, and you don't have to have a fear factor when it comes down to really being in a new environment with growth. Okay.
Who am I? I'm the greatest. Who am I? I'm getting paid. Who am I? I'm so flagrant. Who am I? I'm the greatest. Who am I? I'm getting paid. Who am I? I'm so flagrant.